Good evening. I'm Clyde Shabazz, and welcome to the Green Party of Michigan's State of the State message. Tonight we have Sherry A. Wells, the chairperson of the Green Party of Michigan, and one of this year's candidates for governor, Ms. Jennifer V. Kurland. To our viewers, a little background information about Sherry A. Wells. She's been an active member of the Green Party for 4 years, and last spring she was elected chairperson of the state party. And now, a word from the Green Party's chair, Sherry A. Wells.
Good evening. The Green Party is not a one-issue party. It is not only about the environment, but also social justice, the green in your pocket, grassroots democracy, and nonviolence, from bullying and domestic abuse to war. The Green Party is the party of the 99%. When we run for office, we do not take handouts from corporations or PACs, but only from contributors that we can shake hands with. The preamble to the U.S. Constitution expresses our green goals. It says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty." The military-industrial complex enriches itself at taxpayer expense and produces poverty. The military is too often the only job for low-income young adults, black, brown, and white. But when they return with physical and mental injuries, they become our homeless, addicts, and inmates. I am studying each of the military occupation specialties, veterans know them as the MOS, to apply them to the goals of the Constitution and the Greens. For example, the Army Corps of Engineers could fix bridges, roads, and Flint's water infrastructure. The Medical Corps could provide health care for rural populations who now drive hours to get it or die in the ambulance on the way to the distant hospital. Provide for the common defense, the Constitution says. Today we need to defend ourselves against the attacks on our shores caused by Mother Nature's reactions to the man-made climate change. Michigan is the Great Lakes state. Water, water everywhere, and not a drop of clean water in Flint or access to water by low-income persons in Detroit, while corporations and institutions are behind in their water bills. Nestle pays only $200 a year to suck out 130 billion gallons of our groundwater to put into polluting plastic bottles. And horizontal fracking to reach hard-to-get-at natural gas destroys even more groundwater. Enbridge's Line 5 is leaking into the Straits of Mackinac. Green Party members are active in all of these issues. The Green Party's National Green New Deal includes a jobs program to transition to 100% renewable energy, such as wind and solar, and give all of us clean air in the bargain. And did you know how much money our government pours into nuclear facilities that never get built by the very corporations it pays? They know these are not good private investments. The beginning of the Michigan Constitution of 1963 stated simply that we are earnestly desiring to secure the blessings of freedom undiminished. The blessings of freedom include voting. Our votes have been taken away from us by gerrymandering, corruption, restrictions on registering to vote, and voting itself. Michigan law is far behind most states in regards to redistricting. Bills introduced to fix that have been sitting for over a year without a committee hearing. The governor refuses to call a special election to fill John Conyers' congressional seat, but he did call a special election to fill a seat gerrymandered to go to a Republican. Today, elected county officials in southeast Michigan have opposed the kind of regional mass transit that could get people to jobs. I was angry when Mayor Duggan, in his State of the City last year, referred to those who want to work. Let me assure him that people do want to work. If he won't bring jobs into the city, then get workers to those jobs. And a Q, for questionable, line isn't doing that. Nor does it take students to their schools, which are no longer in their neighborhoods. In education, both Republicans and Democrats get failing grades. Nearly 20 years ago, Governor Engler did the first state takeover of Detroit Public Schools. It had above average achievement and a nice surplus of funds, so he stole that money. Snyder did the same greedy grab, adding unelected emergency managers. During these 2 decades, Detroit residents had only 2.5 years of the school board its citizens voted for. Recently, the Kalamazoo Superintendent of Schools came to be on a panel held in Detroit because, as he said, "Our kids are your kids. What they do to yours, they will do to ours." We need job training, not only college graduates, even without the massive debt. Back to the Constitution. Provide for the general welfare. Welfare at that time meant well-being, health, comfort, security, safety, protection, and prosperity. It should have that same meaning today. These are necessary to the beloved community. With 1 in 7 Michigan residents struggling with hunger and 1 in 6 children, we are morally failing. We support, we Greens, the Poor People's Campaign to eradicate for people of all colors the condition of poverty. When my husband left me with a 3-month-old, we ate only because someone told me about food stamps. I've been there, and I'm white. With the massive foreclosures, even of houses with people still living in them, Duggan is clear-cutting neighborhoods for the new carpetbaggers, the developers, and returning whites. There's so much more about elections and this so-called democracy. Although disregarding the extent to which the majority of voters consider themselves independent, rather than following behind either of the two-party duopoly, the redistricting ballot issue will end gerrymandering. But there is more. I personally witnessed many irregularities with the Detroit Elections Department and its counting of absentee ballots. I wrote affidavits based on what 10 others witnessed there and at polls in its precincts. Yet, the voting photo that went viral of the trash can used as a ballot box and sealed with duct tape was not Detroit, but Ionia County. I spoke with an Idlewild voter who said their concerns were ignored by the Secretary of State office. To ensure domestic tranquility, we need an attitude change around how too many police deal with people who have become afraid of any encounter with law enforcement. I want to change that job title back to peace officer to start with. To establish justice, the Green Party support the Michigan ballot issue to legalize marijuana, as alcohol is, to remove its misclassification as a Schedule I drug, to stop using it discriminatorily to incarcerate especially black young men. When I wrote the first edition of Michigan Law for Everyone, a reader wrote me that I had omitted drugs from the criminal chapter. I realized that was because it was not in our criminal statutes, but rather in the health code, and that is where it belongs. We need to strengthen the public defender system to have as level a playing field in the criminal courts as there is on the tennis courts. You have just heard how the 4 pillars of the Green Party, the environment, social justice, grassroots democracy, and nonviolence, are connected with each other. The environment with both health and jobs, for social justice, education with elections. We invite you to be part of Greens in government. Run for office, campaign and contribute for those sacrificing to do so. Vote for Greens. Most democracies do not have an only 2-party system. We can be the change we seek to see.
Thank you, Chairperson Sherry A. Wells. And now we have with us Jennifer V. Kurland, one of this year's candidates for governor. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Ms. Kurland, please look into the camera and tell the viewers why you're running for governor.
So I'm running for governor to give the citizens of Michigan an option from the 2-party duopoly and oligarchy that has taken hold of our country and our state. I have experience as an elected official. I've spent 6 years on the Redford Union School Board, 3 years as its president. I have activism experience. I've been an environmental activist since I was 19 years old. I have financial experience. I worked in banking for over a decade, and I have my degree in political science. I believe it is important for someone who is our governor to understand the nuance of every issue that affects our state, from the environment to small business to especially currently the Flint water crisis. And so that's why I'm running.
Okay, you mentioned the Flint water crisis.
Yes.
If you like, could you expound on your feelings about the current issues relating to the Flint water crisis?
Absolutely. So I have a small radio show called The Offensive Feminist with Jenny Kay on K Radio Broadcasting, which is a local internet radio station in Redford where I live. And I spent about 6 months researching the Flint water crisis. I have lobbied the entire state Senate and the entire state House. I've also given the information that I discovered to Attorney General Bill Schuette and many of the media outlets across Michigan and Metro Detroit, Genesee County, and Lansing area. And nothing is being done. Still, 4 years after Flint was poisoned, purposefully, knowingly, they still do not have access to clean, safe drinking water, and that is unacceptable.
Okay. I heard you talk about another topic, and that was public education.
Absolutely.
Could you expound on that subject as well?
Sure. So public education, you cannot take away from the issue of income inequality that's currently hurting our state. 3/4 of the school districts and schools in Michigan are what's called Title I, which means that 40% of kids in that school are on free and reduced lunch. So a supermajority of the schools in our state are filled with children who may be food insecure, who may be struggling with struggling parents at home. And this is a huge problem because right now, Michigan, which used to be in the middle of the pack in public education, is now at the bottom of the pack. And even the wealthiest students in Michigan, our wealthiest students aren't even in the middle of the pack anymore. And our African American students are number 50 in our country. And again, that's unacceptable.
Okay. And then lastly, you mentioned another issue, the environment. And of course, could you please let the viewers know your feelings on that issue as well?
Absolutely. And the environment's tied with the Green New Deal and our jobs plan. So Michigan right now, we have the 3rd most polluted zip code in the country, 48217 by the Marathon plant in Detroit. That zip code is the most polluted zip code in our state, the 3rd most in the country, and out of the 10 most polluted zip codes in our state, 6 of them are in the surrounding area. Yet our state right now is reviewing a permit to increase air pollution emissions in that area right across the street from an elementary school in Dearborn. And we have the technology to switch to clean, green energy. Those are the jobs of the future. We have tradespeople in Michigan who have the skills to use their welding skills, their sheet metal skills, to build these wind farms, to build solar panels, and to make Michigan be the leader in green energy. We also have disastrous pipelines that look at the Kalamazoo River and the oil spill that happened there that is still not fully cleaned up. We have the Nexus pipeline being built that is again also spilling and polluting the wetlands across Michigan, across South Michigan.
Okay.
And we have Line 5, which is still currently in operation, which has the potential to destroy our Great Lakes.
Wow. Well, I want to thank you very much. If people, again, would like to get in contact with you, could you please let them know how to reach you?
Absolutely. So you can follow me on social media. All of my social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is Kurland, Kurland, the number 4, MI. And you can visit my website at www.kurland, Kurland, the number 4, Michigan.com. And you can see my issues. You can see all the information that I have on Flint that I've personally researched and given to our legislature. And anything that you have questions on, there's also contact information there as well.
Very good. Again, I've been speaking with candidate for governor, Ms. Jennifer V. Kurland, and the State of Michigan Green Party Chair, Sherry A. Wells. To you both, we thank you so much. And to the viewers, we thank you as well. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.